You are listening to the BlahCade podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me from not quite halfway around the world, it's Sven
Yeah,
from
hello.
Germany.
Good day.
Good day. Exactly. So, you may be wondering why is Sven here and not Jared? Well, Jared basically just rage quit on us because his internet was not playing fair. We were getting the voice out of him here's my approximation of what it was sounding like. Guys, but no internet. So
Yeah, and I think he decided he could do something better on Sunday morning than
yeah,
trying
probably,
to do stuff. Yeah.
because that's usually he's had his breakfast and then this is how he does his Sunday morning, and yeah, I know I would be wanting to do better things too. So while me and Sven were waiting for Jared to figure out his internet, we were laughing about back in the days of the 14.4 modems and the 28K modems, and the mysteries of how long it would take to download something. And it made me think of, so back in 2002 when I was doing visual pinball and downloading tables, I was still on a dial-up modem, and downloading anyone's table would take probably about an hour for me to get.
Wow.
And so you can imagine if I spent an hour downloading their table and then I'd put it up and it would be some just hacked piece of junk that barely had any good graphics at all, and the physics were all wonky, and it just looked like garbage. And then I'd just be furious that I'd wasted that much time, downloading that one.
Yeah, and
So
it cost more money as well. At least in Germany, it was the case. You didn't have any kind of flat rate.
oh
What you're having now, you had to pay for every minute being online.
yeah, so I wound up writing reviews of people's tables, which is, now that I think about it, kind of mean. Because, I mean, it's like they were doing this out of their own free time and stuff. But I was writing reviews trying to help people with the idea of, hey, is it worth your time downloading, or should you just give it a pass? And basically, that's when I got all hooked on Pack Dude's tables, because I knew that for sure I could download his tables and they were going to look absolutely excellent, as opposed to some of these other people's tables. And I kind of created this database of things. But yeah, it was kind of mean of me to review. I think I reviewed something like 50 some different tables.
And how much of them were good out of the 50 tables where you felt it was worth downloading them?
I would say probably, well, 50% of them were for sure you got to download it, because those were all Pack Dudes. And then there was probably about another 20% that were, hey, it's good enough. And there was this one guy, I want to say his name was Scapino. I can't remember. He did these gorgeous looking lighting jobs, but they were massively video card hogs. And so I couldn't play the tables half the time because they would just be in slow motion because they were so intense on the processor. But I didn't give him bad reviews because I was like, well, that's on my end, not on his end. But there were some people who, they didn't even bother putting the walls of the table up. So it was just, imagine a play field with no walls.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this, an amusement park? So that would frustrate me. Or everything had no dimension and just looked like a piece of cardboard, kind of bad snapshot. So I'd say about 30% of the tables were that when I first started looking at them. So yeah. So anyway, that's why Jared's not here and Sven is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I was going to mention with Jared, but you get to fill in, so pretend you're him. We did not.
My very best.
You're gonna have to work on your accent, but that's okay.
Yeah. It will be difficult.
We were supposed to podcast last week, but there were two things going on. Jared was doing some, I believe, some event once again related to childhood diabetes, because he posted all sorts of photos of him and his daughter, and they were wearing
right,
like fairy wings and stuff.
Walk. Yeah. You took an arrow to the knee. No, something else to the knee.
Yeah, and then there was me, who rather badly damaged myself. So I'm at work on a Monday. We're on location. We're in a fitness gym. We've come back from lunch. We're shooting on the second floor of this fitness gym, and they've got it's very like the show I work on takes place in Portland. So think of Portland Tech. It's a lot of wood, but it's a gymnasium, or not gymnasium, a fitness gym. So it's a lot of high tech gear, and so it's wood and metal everywhere, basically.
Okay.
And the staircase, wooden stairs, but on the tips of each stair is 90-degree bracket of steel.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm walking up the staircase. We're in a hurry, trying to grab some gear in between shots, and it's our Steadicam rig. So on one hand, I've got the Steadicam post. That's $80,000. In the other hand, I've got the Steadicam arm. That's $20,000. And I've also got the Steadicam vest up around my shoulder. I don't know how much the Steadicam vest is, but it's soft, so I'm not too concerned about that. But so I'm busting up the stairs. I get about 3/4 up the way, and I don't know if I lost my footing or I just lost my balance, but I started falling forward with the gear. And in my head, it's like, oh God, don't let that hit. That's bad news. And so I went to go take a knee, and I put my knee straight into the steel of the step. And when I say straight into, I'm talking like hot knife through butter. It went right underneath the kneecap, sliced from all the way to the joint, clean in, and I severed the tendon. So now I'm sitting on the staircase, writhing in pain, temporarily in pain until the shock took over.
With the equipment and holding the equipment so nothing happens to it?
Yes, apparently the equipment was fine, but here's the part that bugs me, is that we're always told, sacrifice the equipment, never sacrifice your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the equipment it's insured, it can be replaced really easily. Yeah. Your body, not so much. But mm-hmm. when you're in the moment, you don't think that your body is going to get damaged. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I certainly did not think that I was going to do that to my knee. And
no,
in that
was probably not the plan.
No, that was not the plan. And here's the thing. So I hit and I rolled over onto my butt immediately. I couldn't see the damage that I'd done to my knee. My knee was bent at a 90-degree angle, and I couldn't put it back down. And I reached over and I went to touch my knee, and my finger just went right in like a bowling ball. And that's when I thought, oh my God, I shattered my kneecap. Thankfully, I didn't do that. Yeah. But yeah, so then I had surgery on the Tuesday, and now I am stuck at home with my leg in an immobilizing brace. I'm not allowed to bend it, and just need it to heal, which I'm not quite sure how long that's going to take, but it's going to take a while.
I can tell you one thing. You know, maybe you remember I had a motorbike accident last year.
Yes.
Almost like 14 or 15 months ago now. It was in July, 23rd of July last year. And I had what they call a tibia head fracture, which is basically at the knee. So it's the tibia head is where your knee is plugged into. And yeah, that got destroyed. And it took me like half a year until I could walk again.
Oh God, don't tell me that.
The knee is something really, really terrible.
Well, and the thing is, with my job, I'm constantly kneeling onto the ground to put actors' marks. So I need my knees.
Yep.
Otherwise, I guess.
What did the doctor say about will it be fixed? Like will it be back as before, or will you have continuous pain, or maybe you're not able to get it back to working
I
100%?
don't know because I haven't seen the doctor yet. He didn't bother checking in with me in the hospital after he did the surgery on me.
Okay.
I'm seeing him on Tuesday, which is basically the day that this podcast releases. So I will see him then, and then that's when I should find out more, and obviously he'll know more. Before he started the surgery, he said that he wanted the reason why my leg is going to be completely immobile and not allowed to bend the knee, wants the tendon to heal properly and straight.
Yeah.
Because he says if that doesn't heal straight, then you will have knee problems. But if it heals straight, then presumably you're back to normal. Just with a nasty ass scar on the knee.
So you need patience.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that was fun. Now you would think
that was not what Colin Kaepernick meant by taking a knee.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, not how you're supposed to be taking the knee. Now you would think that, hey, this is okay since I'm not allowed to work and I have to be at home. Well, geez, I could do anything I want, in terms of playing video games or watching movies and stuff like that. But then there's the comfort factor,
Sorry,
which was for, and again, you probably experienced this for the first 3 days. I was so miserable. I could not get comfortable having my legs straight out and the knee, both my knees, because I actually hit my other knee too. It just didn't. It just required stitches. It didn't need surgery. But the knee is swollen and it's just bruised, and the slightest little movement just again caused discomfort. So I wasn't even able to comfortably watch TV. I couldn't sit at my computer desk here and play any games because I couldn't get my leg physically in a comfortable position underneath the desk. So again, that's part of the other reason why we didn't do podcast last week, because I don't think I could have physically sat through one. But I'm feeling much better now. I'm pain-free now. It's just the immobility aspect that sucks.
Yeah, the risk when you're pain-free is that you're doing more than you should do.
Yeah, I agree. And it's hard for me not to.
Be very, very careful with that, because the last thing you want to do is have pain or mobility issues for the rest of your life.
Yes. So in the honor of Jared's absence, let's jump into some pinball talk, and we can save other stuff for later. So the one of the reasons why we have Sven here, because we scheduled him to come in, basically because Jared does not have a PC or consoles with which to try out Pinball FX3. As opposed to me and Sven, who both do have our PC fully hooked up and have been playing Pinball FX3. So let's talk about what we've noticed, what we've liked, if there's anything we haven't liked, and just kind of go from there. So I don't know, Sven, what's your first impressions of after putting in some time with this?
My first impression is it's really nice. It's a better looking tables, and what they I think what Zen tries to achieve is getting more multiplayer features on those tables or in this app, which is quite nice, because with Pinball FX2 they didn't have anything except maybe for some high score comparison.
Yeah, and then you just your leaderboards.
Yeah, exactly. That's barely anything. And they're going down this route. It's still asynchronous multiplayer. They are saying they are looking into doing synchronous multiplayer.
I wish. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be cool if the player base is big enough.
Yes.
That's always a problem. I mean, we are not talking about Call of Duty sizes here. We're talking about what do we have? 2,000 players online at the same time, maximum, maybe even less.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough.
and then they all or some of them need to be willing to play multiplayer synchronous play. So yeah, a, a bit difficult. I said that as well with when Pinball Arcade tried that. Um, you almost have to chat with some people and say, "Hey, do you want to do some head-to-head play?" And otherwise, you probably won't get a lot of matches.
Yeah, so the first things I noticed, I started off with the Universal Table Pack because I just wanted to see what the new is. Um, and like we'll talk about it a little bit more just because we have some thoughts on those. But I messed with those, but then I was like, okay, let's see what they did to the older tables. So I went to one of my absolute nemesis tables, which is Tesla.
Okay.
And part of the reason why I did that is because I also own that on the PS4. And I'll say this right now: bringing over your tables from Pinball Effects 2, super easy. There was no issues. It just in the PlayStation Store, it was just you constantly just it cycled through and basically had you purchase and download the tables. Purchase, when I say purchase, I mean free. You download a table, boom, it would install, and then it asks for, oh, hey, do you want to install this next one? And you do that. So I mean, it took probably, I don't know, maybe half an hour to get them all over, but that was no biggie. On Steam, it was instantaneously there. I didn't. It was nothing.
Yeah. You're probably lucky then, as you most likely have all tables, right?
I have them on Steam. I have less than half on PS4.
Yeah, and if you are in the problem of not having all on Steam, since they repackaged the DLCs, some tables get lost. You own them, but sometimes you have to restart the program to make it visible because they are shown as locked.
Because that did happen on the PS4. Some of the tables that I own, yeah, they got repackaged. So what it had me do was it had me download one file that was for the whole package, and then it had me download the individual table file.
Yeah.
And so then it would, once those two installed together, then I had the other tables shown as locked, and then the one that I owned, shown as unlocked. So anyway, that's why I started though with Tesla, because I've had Tesla with the first iteration, Zen Pinball. So I've had that table the longest out of any, or that's their 4-pack. But anyway, first impressions was wow, good job on the lighting, just really good job. Because that table is a mess to look at. It's got so many things.
So many elements. It's a very busy table.
Yeah, it looks great as steampunk, but not so great to play on. And with the combination of the whatever they did graphics wise, but mainly lighting wise, it makes the table so much more playable. And then also they changed the physics on it, because that table was one of those dead flipper physics where there was just no bounce to the ball at all. And now it's got a nice, it's still not as bouncy as some of their other tables, but it is not noticeably different as it used to be. So yeah, that made that table way easier to play, or way better to play, I should say. And so I was kind of doing that. I was kind of loading up old tables just to see what the difference was. And yeah, the main thing is the lighting is just incredible.
Yeah, it looks so even better than they already did. I mean, Zen was always good in presentation of their tables. Although some people may say they look a bit clinic, a bit sterile, but I always thought the presentation is just gorgeous, and now it even went a giant leap further. Yeah.
Yeah. The second thing I did was I played it in their single player mode with the upgrades. And at first I wasn't sure if I would like the upgrades. But what I'm finding is it's kind of cool, because there's 6 upgrades that you can use, but you can only use 2 at any one time for any session that you're going. And so I'm switching them up based off of what my style of play is. Like sometimes I find my ball constantly going to the bumpers, and so I'm like, well, shoot, I'm going to put that upgrade in because that's just going to kick my score. through the roof.
Yeah.
Other tables, they're combo tables, and so I wound up using the combo upgrade.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of fun. It shifts your perspective.
Yeah. Actually, you have the 6 upgrades, and then you have the 3, I think, wizard abilities, they call it.
Right.
And what you can do is you can have at the same time 1 of the wizard abilities and 2 of the upgrades. And the wizard abilities you get with the challenge modes. Once you beat there are 3 single-player challenge modes. One is the 1-ball challenge mode, where you have just 1 ball and you need to get to a certain point, and they have like a star system, like 1 to 15 stars. And if you get enough points to get 5 stars, you get this ability. And the same is then with a 5-minute challenge.
The 5-minute challenge is unlimited balls.
Unlimited balls with ball saver always activated.
Yeah.
And then you have the survival mode,
which is brutal.
Yeah, that can be really
So
brutal.
survivor mode basically is, and the amount of time they give you keeps on varying, but you basically have to reach a certain score before the timer runs out. Once you hit that score, timer resets, and now you're able to, and now you got to go for an even higher score.
Yeah.
And on some tables, if you know the table, it's not terribly taxing, because it's like, oh, okay, I know how to get a mode started, and if you clear the mode, then mega points, or I can get multi-ball going. But then there's those tables that if you just haven't figured them out yet, you're like, there's no way I can get that next point total in 45 seconds. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you get always 1 minute, and within this 1 minute, you have to get the score. If you have it, you get 1 star, and then another minute starts. But you can use your already earned upgrades and wizard abilities with those challenges. So once you level them up, you're automatically getting higher scores. So it gets easier with that over time.
And so here's another thing that, again, I'm liking with this, that what Zen has done with regards to like Tesla. Normally I would have played a couple of games on that and be like, okay, I'm done with that thing.
Yeah.
But because of the star system and because of the challenges and there's a lot of different challenges. That's the main thing. It's not just like in Pinball Arcade where you're earning your wizard goals. This is a lot of challenges and progressing past to get even more and more stars. I found myself playing Tesla for quite a long time. Long enough that I started actually figuring out how to play the stupid table.
It's amazing.
It is. So, that's the big issue that's always been with Zen, where it's just like, God, I don't know what the heck I'm doing on these things, but now they're rewarding you. And it's definitely, a carrot leading me down the road trying to do more. So, it was good on it.
You can level up your upgrades from 1 to 10, and the bonuses get better with every level. And
the other thing that's nice is no matter what version of the game you're playing, you're still earning points for your upgrades. So I wound up playing, I tried out their matchup mode. So matchup, basically you're offered 3 different scores for the call it the bracket that you're in. You start off at bronze 3, and they offer up 3 different scores, and you need to pick which one you're going to go for and try and beat that person's score in the time frame that they give you. And again, I don't know if it's 5 minutes they give you.
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. And if you beat that person's score, then you earn guaranteed X amount of star points.
20 points for lowest, then 30, and then 40 for the highest
40.
Opponent. Yeah.
But then you can also earn points let's say you absolutely crush that person's point total.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you get what's called a domination bonus.
Yeah.
And so you can earn more points that way. And then in the matchup mode, there's always 4 tables that you can choose between. Well, if you wind up playing all 4 tables, you get what's called a diversity bonus. So it's basically, if you're only focusing on one table and not playing the others, you're not going to get the diversity bonus. But if you're spreading it out and playing all the tables, then you get the diversity bonus. And what you're trying to do is get into the top 20% to bump you into the next bracket when are they calling it season?
They call it season, yeah. 6 days long.
Yeah, it's a 6-day long season, so it's a really short season. So while I was doing that and just trying to beat these people's points totals, I was still earning all this bonus stuff.
Yeah.
So it was very cool.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts while we are talking about this matchup mode. You mentioned the diversity bonus.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you only need to play every table once to get a guaranteed 15-point bonus for every game you win. And to be honest, if you're not completely bad, you will at the moment beat all 3 opponents without any problem.
At least your first go around.
Yeah. And that's the first thing where I have an issue with. That is, you get guaranteed points when you win. When you're not winning, you're losing what? 5 points.
5.
Yeah. So almost nothing.
Yeah, it's not really a huge risk.
No. And that's why I say it's not a risk versus reward. It's only a time versus reward. Because what's happening is those points you get in those challenges just get added up. And if you have enough points to stay in the top 20, you level up to the next league. So all you have to do is play it day in and day out to get your points. There's no real challenge there. It's just time investment, even more time investment than you have in our TPA tournaments, because there you at least need to beat your own score. Here you just have to beat some very low, maybe even just virtual score. It's not a challenge.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about it, but now that you're mentioning it, a game that I play on mobile is Clash Royale, and that one, if you win, you basically get, say, 29 points. If you lose like 27.
Yeah.
So you'll always get more for winning barely than if you lose. But yeah, you're right. That would be interesting if you were constantly losing that many points. You may not be so bold to go for the absolute high point total to get the maximum points.
And no matter how long you play and how high you get within your league, the points usually don't change a lot. You have like 1 million for the lowest guy, 2 million for the middle, and 3 for the highest, except for Family Guy, which is a completely different story, which I come to a bit later. But
well, because that's interesting, because I was just playing all 4 tables that they have right now. The tables for the next 2 days, which by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be over. It was Family Guy, Fallout, Castle Storm, and blanking on the fourth one. But anyway, the third highest point total thing. World War Hulk. World War Hulk. No, the point suddenly it was, can you beat the score of 10 million and 12 million? And then the second highest point one was still, you're right, like 2 million, maybe 3 million, tops. So it seemed like the more I played it, the higher the points it wanted. And then it started eliminating having the bonuses being able to be applied.
Yeah.
So
you get the domination bonus is if you beat the score by 100%, you get 5 points, and for every 100% more, you get 5 points more, up to 25 points as a domination bonus, which is a max.
Cool, I got that recently.
Yeah, and what happened was with Family Guy, when season 2 started, it was always like 3 million, like all with all other tables as well. It didn't change, and I wrote some posting in Steam forums about this not being a challenge, and at I think 3 days ago or so, they changed it suddenly, and suddenly I had 30 million points there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have to beat 30 million points, which is not impossible to do.
Yeah.
If you, with wizard modes or wizard abilities, but it was a huge change, and what I wonder is what they did there, because they must have changed something in how the scores work. I don't think the scores are real scores from the tournament
Yeah, I don't
as
either.
well. Um, Although the names which exist there, they are actual Steam users or Pinball FX users. I looked some of them up, but the scores are sometimes just ridiculous. I don't know where they come from. But anyway, what they should do to improve that is having a real ladder system where you actually challenge a score from someone else, and if you beat that score, you get your points. But you can only like challenge someone who's above you or very close to you, something like that, and
Okay.
you get punished if you lose, and maybe even the opponent gets points credited for that.
See, I think the opponent should get credit.
Yeah,
If you don't beat their score, they should get points.
yeah. So I think there's still a lot to do, and another thing which I think is still a problem. I don't know how they will counter that. We have in there we have 3 bronze leagues,
Yeah.
3 silver leagues, 3 gold league, and 3 diamond leagues. So what happens, as you said before, the top 20% of all players go into the next league. So I looked at the first week, and I assume they had about 10,000 players starting in bronze 3 in the first week. Let's say it's 10,000, maybe it was
Sure.
12 or something like that. So 20% going in bronze 2 in next week. So that's 2,000 players. Let's assume they all play the tables. So then in the next week, 20% of those 2,000 players will go into bronze 1. The week after, from bronze 1 to silver 2, there are only 80 players left. The week after, from silver 3 to silver 2, there's just 20% of 80, which was 1.6 players or 2 players, will move up to silver 2. So they have to do something about that. I don't know what. Maybe they wait until they have at least 100 players before opening a new league, so that just 20 players move to the next higher league. I don't know how they tackle that.
This is kind of with Pinball Arcade, with their tournaments, and they
Yeah.
were always taking the top 20%
Mhm.
would go up, and the bottom 20 would move down. But the thing was if you were able to move up quickly in the beginning, it became really easy to stay up at
Yeah.
the top
Yeah.
because of that very reason. So Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum.
Yeah, I think they will have to work on that mode in several ways. Especially the most important thing is they need to do something to have really a risk versus reward scheme,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's just a huge grind and nothing else, which is a bit sad because I like that mode. I think it's a great idea, and if the challenge would get higher, the higher you rank, would be just perfect.
Yeah. So I know some people. I've read some people have not been thrilled with the user interface of Pinball FX 3, but I gotta say I'm loving it way better than Pinball FX 2 because
I don't have
it's
any idea.
very clear what to move on your controller to make get something else highlighted. Pinball FX 2, sometimes I'd be like, how do I get
Hmm.
how do I change it from being friends only list to showing me all time scores?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it would just be frustrating because there was no indicators at all. And here on the user interface, there's always an indicator of use the right joystick, use the
the
R1,
X or
R2s, and
whatever. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm finding navigation through it very simple.
Yeah, very,
And
very easy. In the beginning, maybe it's just a bit overwhelming
yeah, there's always a learning curve.
with the elements you have there, with the recommendations and everything. But as you said, it's just a learning curve. If you play it for a few times, I think it's really a solid interface.
So let's
Absolutely.
talk real quick about of the three universal tables, what our thoughts are. And I think you and I are in consensus that Back to the Future, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
the interesting thing with that table is there's no mode start. So basically, when you start the table, you get to pick what year you're starting in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's 1985, 1985 alternate, 1955, 2015, and 1885. I think that's
Yeah. That's
it.
it. Yeah.
And whenever you start the year, there's automatically three tasks that you're trying to accomplish. And that's by hitting a certain ramp a number of times or a certain target a number of times. And once you have all three of those things completed, then that's when you can start what you might call the wizard for that particular year, which is obviously getting your time machine up and running and out of there. So it's there is no mode start hole, which is kind of different. I've never experienced that with Zen.
Yeah. And you can always get the multi-ball.
Yeah, multi-ball is pretty easy to get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which
And the
is
cool thing with multi-ball is you start off, well, at least with out of time multi-ball. First time you get it, you have two balls. Next
yeah.
time you get it, you get three balls. Next time you get it, four balls,
Hmm.
five balls. I don't know if it goes up to six balls, but
I don't know. I haven't gone that far because
I got the five ball and it was crazy.
yeah, I played most of it during the first week or first season of
Oh,
the
matchup
matchup
mode.
mode, and so I only played like 3 minutes of the table most of the times. So I never saw all the
Oh,
years
right,
because I spent my time just there. Yeah.
right.
But
Interesting.
it's a great table. It's fantastic lightning. It's wonderful to see how the DeLorean moves around and um, just
And you know what?
a
Despite them
perfect
not having the
table for the visuals.
oh yeah, despite them not having the voice actors, their Marty McFly is
Mm,
pretty dang good. And their Doc Brown is, it's not bad. It's not spot on, but it's pretty decent. A lot of movie quotes and
mm,
and pinball related voiceover,
mm.
and the music. It's funny because I don't miss the Back to the Future theme, but there's one mode where they're clearly trying to channel Huey Lewis in the news,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they fail.
Yeah, yeah. fail miserably.
Yeah, so that's about the only thing that I was just like, guy, if only they could have gotten Huey Lewis in the News' "Power of Love" song, that would have been good.
Have been so great.
Um,
For the voice acting, that's interesting because, as you may or not know, in Germany we usually have localized versions of movies, so we see them in German language. So I don't know exactly what the voice should be like for the actors in the original.
Now, are these tables in German for you?
No.
Okay, so all the voices are in English.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the movies, so I don't have really something to compare it to because the voices are different anyway.
Well, just go to YouTube and look up the movie, and you'll hear what it should sound like. Moving on, let's talk about Jaws for a moment.
Yeah, Jaws.
I have not a clue what to do on that table.
Me not either. I've been trying to figure out what this is about, what to hit. You get blinking lanes where you should shoot to, but nothing happens if you hit them.
Well, and Quint's yelling at me to do something, and I'm like, I want to do it. I have no clue where to shoot.
Yep. It's I had it happen sometimes that the cage was opening. I couldn't shoot the ball in.
Yeah, for a ball lock.
Yeah, for a ball lock, exactly.
But I don't know how to open the cage. No. It just seemed to suddenly open and be like, okay, I guess I'm shooting there.
Exactly. You have this spinner wheel above the cage. I think that's a bit of a key to shoot to. You know what I mean? This
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's above the cage. There is it's a bit hidden. You can shoot it with the upper left flipper. You can shoot in a circle there.
Okay.
I think that's something that you have to do a few times. But other than that, some modes start, but I don't know how. Sometimes you get some kind of hurry up, but I don't know why. Completely clueless. Maybe
the only thing I
have to read the rules.
The only thing I figured out on that table was the skill shot, which is more than I can say for Back to the Future. Yeah. I have no clue how to do the skill shot on Back to the Future. I've never gotten it once, and I've tried varying degrees of shooting it.
Yeah, I have got it on Back to the Future, but it's very difficult to pull it off.
It reminds me, there was one of the Star Wars tables. It took me forever to figure out the skill shot on it. Once I figured it out, it was like, yeah, that wasn't obvious at all. So I think part of the reason why it's hard for me is because the angle when the table drops onto that camera view is blocked by the Twin Pines or whatever, a mall sign, and so I can't see what the ball is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to jump up onto the habit trail if you get it just right, and I haven't been able to figure that out. Like okay, last table of the Universal Pack.
Very, very easy. You just have to wait until the shark is at a certain position, and then you shoot, and that.
Yeah. Last table is the ET table.
Yeah.
Which, if I had to guess, I would call that a wide body table. That's kind of the feel of it. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where you shoot the ball and you have no clue where it's going to come out.
Yeah.
The orbits on it are crazy. So you've got that going for it, where you're like, I don't know where the ball's coming out. And then you've just got the fact that you're like, I have no clue what this game wants me to do. What it wants me to shoot, collect, I don't know. And the voice acting on that one is terrible.
Mostly, it's not that difficult. You have this spaceship.
Yeah. Well, that's how you start the modes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the different modes where you have to collect sweets or something like that. And usually the lanes are lit where you have to shoot to. Then you have this multi-ball chamber on the lower right side. Don't know whether you noticed that one.
No, I haven't played it enough to actually pay much
Yeah,
attention.
yeah. You shoot like there's a two target um, thingy. I don't know what to call it. You shoot two or three times against it, then they lower down. Then you lock the ball. You shoot again against them, and you get a two ball multi ball. Yeah.
Hmm.
And other than that, you have the modes with the spaceships. That's all I know at the moment. What I can say, what I really like is if you're going to night mode, looks absolutely fantastic to me.
Oh, see, I don't think I had that happen, so I don't know.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say though, the voice acting on that, the person that they got to do Elliot sounds exactly like the girl. They got a girl to do Elliot, um, and it's the same girl I think that they did Sorcerer's Lair with.
Okay.
I recognize the voice
Mhm.
from one of the other tables. It's basically slightly altered, but it does not fit. It does not fit at all. It's one of those. It's kind of like I always refer to Alien versus Predator, where it's just like great looking table, terrible sounding voice acting,
Mhm.
and the ET table, the same thing. And I always laughed at ET when he speaks anyway. So when he starts speaking on the table, I just kind of snigger. Um, he's like
Yeah.
multi-ball. I don't know. It's so yeah, I can't really get into that one much. I don't know. I'll have to give some
Yeah,
time
I
later.
don't. I don't think it will be an all-time favorite table, to be honest. But talking about ET, they currently have, and maybe that's a way to move over to the tournament mode. They also have a, an official tournament for ET at the moment. I think it's
Oh,
still
okay.
running, where you can win some DVDs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
prizes.
Prices. Yeah, wonderful.
Cool. Speaking of
Um,
tournament mode,
yeah,
I went ahead
exactly.
and tried. I went ahead and tried that out, and I created one.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do this. I'm going to try and do this frequently.
Yeah.
If you look up, just do a search for "Shut Your Trap," because I can't do it as BlahCade. But look for "Shut Your Trap," and you'll find a tournament. And I'm going to have it run for 7 days, basically. So from the time that we start this podcast, Saturdays on America time. Um,
Mm.
and I'll have it run for 7 days. This week's tournament, I decided to, hey, let's go ahead and do it with Iron Man because everybody loves that, right? And it's an old favorite of mine, so that's why I did it. But I did it for 5 minute ball mode, and yes, there are bonuses that you can play with. And I left it open to the public, so it's not just to
Mm.
BlahCade listeners. But I figured that'd be kind of fun to just kind of
It,
play amongst the community
I'm
that
very,
listens
very
to.
curious about what's going to happen because, and that's something I would like to touch as well. The tournament mode, I created three tournaments already. Um, and the first one was with 3 days. And I can tell you nothing happened during the first 2 days because the tables or the tournaments are not really visible.
Uh,
You only see 16 tournaments at the same time in the list. Can't scroll down more. And so you have to either look for a specific name,
mm-hmm.
or you can filter by who created it. Like, did a friend of mine create it? Then you will find it.
Okay.
But you cannot search for a specific table. You cannot say, I want to play now, let's say Iron Man.
Oh, a
And
tournament
this
with
will,
Iron Man that won't pop up.
yeah, not
Gotcha.
happening. The only thing you can do is you can put a table to your favorite tables and search for favorite tables. That's some kind of workaround.
Okay.
What I experienced when creating the tournaments is in the first, if you have it for like 3 days, in the first 2 days, nothing is happening. On the last day, nothing is happening. Only in the last hour or so, people start playing because that's what the default view is when you go into the tournament mode. You get the news or the
So
tournament
whatever's
will
ending
end.
soonest.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so that's something they absolutely need to work on, because at the moment it's just a waste of time there. And I don't know why they decided just to show 16 tournaments at the same time. And
Yeah.
you also cannot filter out private tournaments where you don't have a password for. It would be nice to just filter them out, or to say, you know what, half of the games created or the tournaments created are Sorcerer's Lair because that's a free table. But I don't want to play it. Let's show me all tournaments without certain tables I dislike, or tables I just don't want to play at the moment. That's something they really need to do.
Well, like I said, I will announce what we're playing in
Mm,
the podcast here, so you can just look up my username, Shut Your Trap, and uh, I also have it, I believe, set open to, since I'm on Steam. Basically, if you're on Xbox, if you're on PS4, you'll be able to play in the tournament. I don't know if you'll
yep.
be able to see other, like if Xbox will be able to see PS4 people's scores or not. I don't know how that'll work.
I
Um,
think they should.
I would think they should, but so yeah, it's an open tournament that way. So,
Uh,
uh, join in, have fun. Okay, enough of this Zen madness that's dominated most of this. Let's quickly mention that Fathom did get released on Pinball Arcade. Did you mess with it at all?
Yeah, I played a bit of it. It seemed to be quite brutal. I don't know if that's just me being bad at that table, or if it's really that
No,
difficult.
it's a bit of a nasty customer. There's no doubt about it. Locking balls, easy. Unlocking or getting the multi-ball going, not so easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it also has those funky bally lanes, which I'm glad. This is the first time we've had basically what normally is the out lane is your in lane, and the in lane is your out lane.
Yeah.
So Bally did that on quite a few tables, but this is our first. I think this is our first taste in Pinball Arcade of it. So I'm happy that we finally get that in one of these machines. Jared described this as a mirrored version of 8-Ball Deluxe,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I
Mhm.
tried using that mentality when playing, and that mentality will not do you justice at all. It is a different. It may look similar. It does not play the same way at
No,
all.
no, it doesn't play similar, but from I don't know. I know where he comes from, but
Yeah,
it's a totally different beast. And although 8-Ball Deluxe, um, when I first played it, I thought, well, how difficult is that one?
right.
It's like you cannot get any decent score. You have to play very disciplined with that table.
What I found interesting with Fathom is, to me, it was kind of a combination of 8-Ball Deluxe and Centaur. Which, I mean, these are all from the same era of Bally, and I'm realizing, hey, I like this era. And it's kind of a combination of both. And yeah, it's easy to pick up and very difficult to master.
Yeah, absolutely. And although when I was in the age of when Centaur came out, I never liked this table because of the voice acting. I just didn't
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Um, it was annoying as hell. If you stood next to it playing another table and it was in a track mode, and every I don't know how often it said. Uh, what does it say?
Other than Sandar, I don't know what it says. I
Centaur.
don't know what it does in a track
I
mode.
don't know. Don't know exactly what it was. but it got so annoying, and at that time I didn't like the graphics. Today I do like it. And what I especially like is the way it plays. And if you have like a five-ball multi-ball, it's like it's putting a smile on my face, really, every time I get that. I don't know whether Fathom will be a table like that for me. I enjoy 8-Ball Deluxe a lot, but Fathom, at the moment, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put in enough time with it to really form a true opinion, other than the time I did spend, I just kept on going, well, I can do better than that, and immediately played another game, which I think is a good sign. But it also might be one of those that once you've mastered it, then there's nothing left in it for you. And then it can become kind of just a grind fest. So I don't know. I'm still on the fence, but I just wanted to give props that, yes, there was another machine that got released other than Zen stuff since our last podcast. Okay, last bit of business, and as Jared would like to always notify, warning, not pinball. So last year, you may recall, we did probably 3 different podcasts where we talked about fidget cubes.
Oh, yeah.
And I got an email last week from the people that made the Stress Cube, which is the one that I bought. And they said, hey, we've got a new project. It's up on Kickstarter. This is for a spinner cube. So it's basically the fidget cube, but what they've done is they put 2 spinners on opposite sides. Now you can spin it like a fidget spinner. And the thing that they're mentioning about it is that it's perpetual spinning, because the cube itself is off balance, and so if you just kind of jiggle your hand whatsoever, you can keep it going. The record that they have set right now is 18 minutes for nonstop spinning. There was also on their Kickstarter page, one of the things I didn't like about the Stress Cube was its magnets. That's how they do all of the light switch and the joystick were done with magnets. And if you get any kind of dirt inside your cube, especially with the joystick will then start sticking, and it loses the satisfying effect, you might say. So they did they'd given an early version of the spinner cube to some internet people that basically break and tear down everything and see what's inside. And they did this with the spinner cube. And I was very, eyes looking, what do they do? What do they do? And with regards to the joystick, it's now using the same mechanics that are inside your basic controllers. So no more magnets. And that got me excited. I was like, oh, awesome. And then they turned the light switch. Instead of it being a light switch, they made it into like a shoulder trigger. So if you have your thumb on the joystick and your forefinger on the shoulder trigger, it's going to feel like holding a controller, which I think is way cool. So anyway, they just started their Kickstarter campaign. 2 days in, they're already halfway funded. And I encourage everybody to go look at the Kickstarter campaign. It is just go to Kickstarter and search for Spinner Cube. And you should find it. It's by Stress Cube. That's who's the maker of it, in case there's some other knockoff going. And the guarantee that they have is that if they're funded, which it looks like they will be, 2 weeks after the campaign ends, they'll be shipping out. They've already got the molds made. They've already got everything ready to go. Basically, they just need materials cost to manufacture it. And for the first 250 that sign up, if you select just a single cube, it's only $13 plus shipping, which I think is $3 within the US. But if you do 2 cubes, then it's free shipping, which is what I did. So anyway, I just want to give them a shout out, because I still to this day, whenever I do a podcast, I have my cube in my hand, because it does this weird, bizarre thing with your brain. If your fingers are doing something, you're less likely to always say which
Okay.
in public speaking is something that we always do because we're trying to think of what our next thing is while speaking at the same time, and that's when all of a sudden you're going, and if you ever listen to people on the radio, just listen. This is how you know true broadcasters. They don't say ever.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
And it is so incredibly hard to not do.
Oh, yes, it is. It is.
So that's why I always have this thing in my hand. So I've been using it all year.
Because that's something where I have a problem with as well.
Yeah. So anyway, it's good campaign.
We're not professionals anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm far from a professional, that's for sure. Far. Okay, so on my agenda has been I've been playing Last of Us on PS4, which I'd given a shot on the PS3 years ago, and it freaked me out, and so I quit playing it. And what I didn't realize was I wasn't even a quarter of the way through the game, and I was basically still in tutorial mode.
Wow.
But since I've been relegated to the couch, I got it and have been playing through it and thoroughly enjoying it. And I should be finished with it by the next podcast. So there's something to look forward to. Me giving a review of a game that's, I don't know, what, 4 years old?
That's what the world has been waiting for.
Exactly, my opinion.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally.
Plus, I'll probably mention other things I've been playing while being relegated to the couch. Because don't know how much pinball there is. Oh, wait, I know some pinball stuff. See, if Jared was here, he would be talking about the project that he's working on. If you're on Twitter, follow @JaredMorgs. You'll see exactly what it is that he's been messing with. But I'm not going to spoil it. I'll let him talk all about it next time. As for me, you can follow me @ShutYourTraps. And most importantly, though, follow the show. We are @BlahCade. If you would like to visit the website, it is BlahCadePinball.com. There you will find show notes as well as all of our previous recordings, as well as web links to things just like the Kickstarter that I mentioned. And if you didn't want to look it up yourself, you can just click the link and go, wow! You can also drop us an email. We are blahblahblahcade@gmail.com. And the last thing I want to mention is me and Jared have been thinking it's time for a new logo for the show. We roughed one up last week, and it was posted to Twitter on both Jared's Twitter handle and the BlahCade Twitter handle. Why don't you take a look at it, see what you think, if we're heading in a good direction or not. We'd love some feedback, because eventually that's what will be on new t-shirts. So we need your opinion. All right, Sven, thank you so much for sitting in for Jared.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We shall talk to everybody again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.